The restaurant was buzzing, but Damian Cole barely noticed, until she walked up. A simple waitress, trembling slightly, looked him in the eye and said, "Sir, my mother has the exact same tattoo as you." Damian froze. That tattoo wasn't just ink, it was a secret he thought was buried forever. A secret that could destroy everything he's built. Who is this woman? Why does her mother share his mark? And why now, after all these years? In the next few minutes, Damian will uncover a hidden past, shocking betrayals, and a choice that could change lives forever, including his own. Before we continue into this mind-blowing story, kindly like, subscribe and comment where you are watching from. Damian Cole's phone vibrated violently against the polished mahogany desk, shattering the quiet hum of the office late at night. He barely looked up, fingers brushing against the papers as the city lights outside cast long shadows across the room. Another call from his secretary? Or another investor with an urgent demand? He was used to the chaos of his empire, but something in the air tonight felt different. Then came a soft knock on the door, hesitant, almost fearful. Damian frowned. He wasn't expecting anyone. Slowly he rose, the weight of his broad frame filling the doorway. "Come in," he called, his voice steady but carrying a note of caution. The door creaked open and a little girl stepped inside, clutching something small and glittering to her chest. Her eyes were wide, innocent, yet there was a strange determination in the way she stood, as if she knew she didn't have a choice. "Sir," her voice barely rose above a whisper. I found this." Damian's gaze dropped to the object in her hands, a necklace, delicate but unmistakably his. A pendant he had thought lost years ago, the one piece of his family's heirloom collection that had vanished during a reckless night of travel and chaos. His heart skipped a beat. Where did you get this?" he asked, stepping closer. His eyes, sharp and demanding, searched hers for any sign of deceit. The girl shifted, hugging the necklace closer. I found it near the park. I didn't know it belonged to you. I just wanted to give it back." Damian's mind raced. The streets of the city were crowded, chaotic. How could a little girl come across something so precious, so personal? And more importantly, why had she walked straight to him? Something about her presence unsettled him. I don't know how to thank you," Damian said, his tone softening despite himself. "You could have lost it again, you know. This is worth more than anything." The girl shrugged, a small frown creasing her brow. "I don't care about the money. I thought it was important." Something about her honesty, her straightforwardness, pierced through Damian's practiced walls of caution. He knelt slightly to meet her gaze, trying to understand her world, a world so different from his. She was small, fragile even, but there was a fire in her eyes that spoke of experiences far beyond her years. "Do you have a name?" he asked, his voice gentler now. "Lila," she said. "And my mom, she's sick. Really sick. I wanted to give her something special too, but I didn't have anything." Damian's chest tightened. The weight of her words, so simple and honest, struck a chord deep within him. In his world of deals, power, and numbers, this was raw, real, and urgent. "You came here, alone?" he asked carefully. "Just to return this?" She nodded, eyes bright despite the fear that lingered behind them. "I didn't know where else to go. I thought maybe you'd help her." Damian felt a strange pull. Helping people was something he rarely did without calculation. But something about Lila, her earnestness, the weight of the heirloom in her small hands, forced him to reconsider. He gestured for her to sit on the leather chair opposite him. "Tell me about her." "Your mother." Lila's voice wavered as she described the sickness that had taken over her mother, the treatments they couldn't afford, and the small, lonely apartment where they lived. Her words painted a picture of despair, but also of resilience, a determination that mirrored the very necklace she had returned. Damian listened, heart pounding, mind turning over possibilities. His world had always been about calculated risks and cold efficiency. But this was different. The stakes weren't money or power. The stakes were life and family. "Lila," he said finally after a long pause, "I think I can help. But you have to promise me something." "Anything," she whispered, leaning forward, hopeful but wary. "You must tell the truth. No lies, no hiding anything. This is serious. If I'm going to help your mother, I need to know everything, every detail, every struggle, everything." Her eyes widened and then she nodded vigorously. "I promise, sir. I'll tell you everything." That night, Damian worked with Lila to gather information about her mother's condition, doctors, and the medications they could barely afford. His mansion, once a fortress of solitude and opulence, became a hub of activity, calls, arrangements, and urgent plans. Every decision he made carried the weight of life and death. But as the night deepened, Damian realized the complexity of the situation. Helping Lila's mother wasn't just about providing money for treatment. There were deeper challenges: corruption, hidden debts, and a network of people who had profited from her mother's misfortune. Each revelation brought more questions, more danger, and more moral dilemmas than he had anticipated. And as he stared at the little girl, clutching the necklace like a talisman, Damian understood one undeniable truth. This wasn't just about a lost heirloom. It was about trust, sacrifice, and choices that would test him far beyond the confines of his comfortable world. Outside the mansion, the city slept, oblivious to the storm brewing within its tallest towers. But inside, a billionaire and a little girl had begun a journey that would change both their lives forever. A journey marked by danger, hope, and the unpredictable power of human connection. As the first rays of dawn pierced the horizon, Damian made a silent vow. No matter what it took, he would protect Lila, her mother, and the heirloom that had unexpectedly brought them together. But even as he prepared for the challenges ahead, a shadow lingered at the edges of his plans. Someone who had been watching, waiting, and would not let the necklace or the girl remain in safety for long. The game had begun, and the stakes were higher than Damian could ever have imagined. The next morning, Damian woke early, the city still wrapped in mist and quiet. Lila had already arrived, clutching her backpack tightly, eyes bright but filled with the exhaustion of sleepless nights. "Good morning, Lila," Damian said, offering a faint smile as he poured coffee into a mug. "Did you sleep at all?" She shook her head, sliding onto the chair across from him. "No. I kept thinking about Mom. About the medicines. I didn't know who to ask." "You asked the right person," Damian said firmly, though his mind raced. The network of doctors, payments, and permissions was complex and dangerous. He had no intention of letting anyone exploit her mother's illness. He led her to the study, spreading papers across the table. "Tell me everything, every symptom, every treatment, every person you've seen. Nothing is too small." Lila swallowed hard. It's a lot," she said. "Mom, she's been sick for a long time. We tried hospitals, but they said we didn't have enough money. And then," her voice broke and she blinked back tears. "Then they stopped calling us back. They said the treatments were too expensive." Damian clenched his jaw. Every fiber of his being wanted to leap across the city and demand justice. He forced himself to remain calm. "Show me," he said gently. "Show me everything you have, documents, bills, letters. I'll figure this out." Hours passed as Lila laid out her mother's medical history. Damian scanned the papers, noting inconsistencies, hidden debts, and traces of negligence that had been buried deliberately. This wasn't just bad luck. Someone had profited from her suffering. "Sir, there's one more thing," Lila said hesitantly. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, folded note. I found it under Mom's bed. I don't know who wrote it, but it says, 'Heirloom holds the key.'" Damian's breath caught. That phrase, "the key," was not new. The necklace she had returned, the one he thought lost forever, had been part of a puzzle he had believed irrelevant. But now, this little girl had accidentally stumbled onto something far bigger than herself, something that could either save them or destroy them. "Lila," Damian said slowly, kneeling to her level, "do you understand what you've just shown me?" I don't," she admitted. Her eyes filled with worry, but there was no hiding her determination. "I just know it's important. Mom, she said it was always important. That someone would come looking for it one day." Damian's mind spun. The heirloom, the mysterious note, and the girl's mother. All pieces of a puzzle he had been trying to solve for years without even knowing it. Suddenly, he realized he wasn't just protecting a little girl or a lost necklace anymore. He was standing at the threshold of a secret that could rewrite everything he knew about his family and his empire. The phone rang, slicing through the tense quiet. Damian glanced at the screen, an unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. "Mr. Cole," a cold voice said. "We see you found her. Don't get too comfortable. Some things are not meant to be uncovered." Damian's grip on the phone tightened. "Who is this?" "You'll find out soon enough," the voice said, then the line went dead. Lila watched him silently, fear flickering across her face. "Sir, is that dangerous?" "Very," Damian admitted. His mind was racing, but he forced himself to stay calm. "But you did the right thing by coming to me. I promise, no one is going to hurt you or your mother while I'm here." Over the next few days, Damian threw himself into action. Private doctors, legal advisors, and discreet investigators were mobilized. Every call, every email, every small piece of evidence was examined and cross-checked. Lila watched him work tirelessly, awe in her eyes, slowly understanding that this man, so powerful and intimidating, had chosen to step into her chaotic world for her sake. Late one night, Damian and Lila sat together in the mansion's library, reviewing a pile of documents and photos. The little girl's hands shook as she held the heirloom necklace, staring at it as if it could speak. "Sir, do you think Mom will get better?" she asked quietly. Damian's chest tightened. "I'm going to do everything I can," he said honestly. "And we're going to make sure nobody, stands in our way." Just then a soft knock echoed through the library. Damian froze. His trained instincts flared. Someone was inside the mansion and it wasn't supposed to be anyone. "Stay here," he whispered to Lila, placing a protective hand on her shoulder. He moved silently through the hallway, senses heightened. Shadows danced across the walls, the faint click of footsteps echoing. And then, he saw a figure dart past the study, disappearing into the darkness. Damian's heart pounded. Whoever was watching, whoever had threatened him earlier, had found their way inside. And now, the game had escalated from documents and phone calls to direct confrontation. He returned to Lila, crouching beside her. "Listen to me," he said firmly. "You must stay calm. No sudden movements. I won't let anyone hurt you or your mother." Her small hand gripped his tightly. "I'm scared," she admitted, voice trembling. "I know," Damian said softly, though inside a fire burned. He was ready for whatever came next. Protecting this little girl, the heirloom, and her mother wasn't just a choice anymore. It was a battle he couldn't afford to lose. And somewhere in the shadows, a pair of eyes watched, calculating, patient, knowing that the next move would be critical. The stakes were higher than ever, and Damian realized the path ahead would demand every ounce of cunning, courage, and heart he had left. The mansion was unusually quiet that night, but Damian's instincts screamed otherwise. Every shadow seemed alive, every faint noise amplified. Lila slept fitfully in the study, the heirloom necklace clutched tightly to her chest, and Damian stood by the window, eyes scanning the garden below. He didn't notice the letter that had slipped under the door until he saw it flutter slightly in the morning breeze. Picking it up, he recognized the elegant handwriting immediately, someone who had been observing him for weeks. "You think you can protect her? Think again. Some debts cannot be paid with money." Damian's pulse quickened. Whoever this was, they knew about Lila. They knew about her mother. And most importantly, they knew about the necklace. By mid-morning, Damian decided it was time to confront the truth. Lila, unaware of the danger creeping closer, followed him to his private office. "Sir, what's going on?" she asked nervously. "You were right to bring the necklace to me," Damian said carefully. "But there are people who will stop at nothing to get it back, and it's not just about the jewelry. It's bigger than either of us imagined." Lila's eyes widened. "Bigger? How big?" "Secrets from my family," he explained, lowering his voice. "All tied to this heirloom. It's not just a necklace, it's a key. A key to things that could ruin lives if they fall into the wrong hands." Before Lila could respond, the lights flickered. A cold shiver ran down Damian's spine. The power in the mansion hadn't faltered in years. This wasn't random. He grabbed a flashlight, moving cautiously down the hall. A shadow moved near the library door. He froze, pressing against the wall, heart pounding. "Who's there?" he demanded. No answer. Just a faint rustle of fabric and then, silence. Returning to the study, he found Lila staring at something on the floor. The necklace was gone. "No!" she cried, panic rising. "It was right here." Damian's mind raced. Someone had slipped past all security measures, and now the most important piece of the puzzle was in unknown hands. "They took it for a reason," he muttered. "And we have to find out why, before it's too late." The phone rang, shattering the tension. Damian snatched it up. A distorted voice whispered, "Keep the girl close. The heirloom belongs to us. Fail, and you'll regret it." The line went dead. Damian's jaw tightened. Whoever had stolen the necklace was not just a thief. They were organized, dangerous, and willing to manipulate anyone to achieve their goal. He turned to Lila. "We have to move fast. Do you trust me?" I do," she whispered, gripping his hand. Damian nodded. "Good. Because nothing we do now is without risk. Every step we take could be the one that changes everything, permanently." Later that night, Damian followed a trail of subtle clues. Footprints near the back garden, a smudge of ink on a windowsill, a faint perfume that didn't belong to anyone in the mansion. Each discovery deepened the mystery, pulling him closer to someone who had been orchestrating events from the shadows. Meanwhile, Lila's mother, unaware that her daughter had ventured into the dangerous web of secrets, lay sick in her small apartment. Damian knew time was critical. Every moment wasted gave the shadowy figure an advantage. Then, just as he was about to reach a lead, his phone buzzed again. A photo appeared, the necklace, glowing in a dim light, held in the hand of someone familiar. Damian's blood ran cold. The face in the photo was someone he had trusted once, someone he had thought loyal. Why now?" he muttered. Rage and disbelief surged through him. The betrayal cut deeper than any threat, any danger. And then another message appeared: "You can save her, but can you save yourself?" Damian's hands shook as he read it. He realized that this was no longer just about the heirloom or even Lila's safety. This was about uncovering a web of betrayal, secrecy, and vengeance that stretched back decades, and the person orchestrating it was far closer than he had imagined. He looked at Lila sleeping peacefully, unaware of the chaos around her. Every instinct screamed to keep her safe, but the necklace, the key, had vanished, and with it, his sense of control. Somewhere in the city, the shadows smiled. They had set the trap perfectly, and Damian had walked straight into it. The next move would determine who survived and who was lost forever. And as the night deepened, Damian realized one terrifying truth. The person who had stolen the necklace wasn't just playing for wealth. They were playing for revenge, for redemption, for something far darker. And Damian would have to risk everything to stop them. The city was cloaked in darkness, but Damian's mind burned with urgency. The necklace was gone, the threats had escalated, and every second brought new danger. Lila sat beside him in the mansion, trembling, her hands fidgeting with the edges of her dress. "Sir, what are we going to do?" she whispered, eyes wide with fear. "We fight," Damian said firmly, though inside a storm raged. "But carefully. We need to find it before they use it, before anyone gets hurt." He moved swiftly, assembling his team of trusted aides and security experts. Maps were spread across the table, phone lines traced, every contact called. Every step was calculated, but each calculation carried risk. Hours later, a breakthrough. One of Damian's informants had spotted a figure moving through the abandoned warehouses on the edge of the city, a figure matching the description from the photo he had received. "That's it," Damian said, eyes narrowing. "That's where they're keeping it." Lila looked at him nervously. "Sir, do I have to come?" Damian hesitated. He hated putting her in danger, but he knew she was the key to understanding why the necklace had been taken in the first place. "Yes," he said softly. "But you stay behind the car. You watch and you don't leave my sight." The warehouse was massive, silent except for the hum of electricity and the occasional drip of water. Damian moved like a shadow, his heart pounding with adrenaline. Somewhere inside, the necklace glinted, and with it, the truth waited. Then he saw her, the woman holding the necklace. His eyes widened. It was someone from his past, someone he had trusted more than anyone. Marissa, his former business partner and friend, the one who had betrayed him years ago. "Marissa?" Damian's voice was sharp, disbelief and anger mixing. She turned slowly, a sly smile on her lips. "Didn't expect to see me here, did you?" "I trusted you," he said, stepping forward. "Why are you doing this?" Her laugh was soft, cruel. "You think it's about the necklace? It's never been about the necklace. It's about you realizing what you lost, Damian. What you left behind. The little girl? She's just a pawn in the game. And you fell for it." Damian's fists clenched. He had to stay calm. "If you harm her or her mother, I will make sure you regret it." "You'll have to catch me first," Marissa taunted, holding the necklace high. Suddenly, alarms blared. Damian's team had arrived, surrounding the building. Marissa's eyes flicked to the exits. "You think this ends here?" she hissed. "This is just the beginning. You'll see, everything you thought was safe, everything you thought you controlled, it's all coming down." And then she disappeared into the shadows, leaving the necklace behind. Damian rushed forward, but a hidden trapdoor triggered. The floor beneath him shifted, and he stumbled into darkness, barely catching himself. From the shadows, a voice whispered, "You're too late." Damian's heart raced. The necklace glowed faintly in the distance, but something about the setup screamed danger. Whoever had orchestrated this, Marissa, the shadowy figure from before, had anticipated every move. He crawled forward, careful, adrenaline flooding every nerve. Each step brought him closer to the necklace, and closer to a truth he wasn't prepared for. Suddenly the lights flickered on. The warehouse was filled with a dozen masked figures, all converging around the necklace. Lila's words from days ago echoed in his mind, "It's important." Someone will come looking for it. Damian realized the stakes. This wasn't just about wealth or revenge. The heirloom held secrets powerful enough to ruin lives, secrets that could expose betrayals, hidden alliances, and truths he had buried deep inside himself. He lunged forward, grabbing the necklace just as one of the figures tried to snatch it. A struggle erupted, every movement frantic, dangerous. The mask slipped on one of them and Damian's heart stopped. It was someone he had never suspected. One of his own aides, corrupted and playing for Marissa all along. "You betrayed me?" Damian's voice was a growl. "I'm just smart enough to survive," the aide sneered. "You'll never understand what it means to be powerless." Damian tightened his grip on the necklace, his mind racing. He had to act fast, protect Lila and her mother, and somehow neutralize every threat in this deadly game. As he fought through the chaos, Marissa's voice echoed from above. "You can save the necklace, or her. Choose wisely, Damian. Time is running out." Damian froze. He realized the ultimate twist. This wasn't just about reclaiming an heirloom. It was about choosing between power and innocence, between preserving his empire or saving a life. The warehouse walls seemed to close in, the masked figures advancing, the necklace glowing brighter as if reacting to the tension. Damian's eyes met Lila's, remembering her trust, her hope, her courage. And then, in a split second, he made a choice that would change everything. Damian's grip on the necklace was iron-strong, sweat beading his forehead as the masked figures circled him. His mind raced, calculating every angle, every possibility. Lila's voice echoed in his memory, "Sir, do you think Mom will get better?" The thought of her mother's fragile life sharpened his resolve. He lunged forward, using the chaos to his advantage. One figure tried to grab the necklace from behind, but Damian pivoted, using his momentum to throw him into a stack of crates. Another lunged from the side, but Damian's quick reflexes allowed him to trip the attacker, sending him sprawling across the concrete floor. Above, Marissa's voice rang out, tinged with both anger and amusement. "You think it will be that easy, Damian? The heirloom isn't just an object. It's a key to everything you've ever ignored." Damian's heart pounded. He realized she was right. The necklace held secrets about his family, about past betrayals, and about the fortune and legacy he had been protecting. But right now, saving Lila and her mother was more important than any revelation. He threw the necklace into his inner jacket pocket and signaled Lila to stay close. "Follow me and don't stop running," he whispered urgently. They darted through the maze of crates and corridors, shadows of the masked figures pursuing them. Every step was nerve-wracking. Every breath could betray them. Finally, they reached a narrow side exit. Damian kicked the door open and pulled Lila through, closing it just as a figure slammed against it from the outside. They ran into the night, the city streets quiet but alive with distant sirens. Damian scanned the darkness, calculating the next move. They couldn't return to the mansion, not yet. Not until the threat was neutralized. I can't believe we got out," Lila gasped, clinging to his arm. "You need to rest," Damian said firmly. "We've only just begun. But I promise I'll protect you and your mother. No one will harm you again." Back in the safety of a secluded safe house, Damian examined the necklace more closely. The pendant's intricate design revealed hidden compartments and inscriptions. As he studied it, the final pieces of the puzzle started to come together. The heirloom wasn't just jewelry, it was a map, a guide to long-hidden family secrets and wealth. Lila watched silently, awe in her eyes. "Sir, what does it mean?" "It means," Damian said softly, "that your mother's story and this necklace are tied to my family in ways I never imagined. And it's time we set things right." The next morning, Damian arranged for proper medical care for Lila's mother. Doctors, medicines, and treatments were secured, all discreetly and effectively. For the first time in weeks, Lila's mother slept without fear, her life no longer threatened by debts or negligence. Then Damian confronted Marissa directly. Using the evidence he had gathered, the aide's betrayal, her manipulations, and the necklace's secrets, he cornered her. "It's over," he said calmly. "You won't hurt anyone else. The game's end now." Marissa's defiance faltered when she realized her plans had unraveled. Damian's careful strategy, combined with the loyalty of his team and his resolve, had outmaneuvered her completely. She had lost her leverage, and the necklace was safely back in Damian's possession. As the days passed, Damian reflected on the journey. The necklace had brought danger, deception, and fear, but it had also revealed loyalty, courage, and unexpected connections. Lila, brave and determined beyond her years, had reminded him of what truly mattered. He watched her play in the sunlight outside, necklace safely stored away, her laughter ringing through the air. The city was still bustling, full of chaos and business deals, but inside this small bubble of safety there was peace. Damian realized that the heirloom's true value wasn't in wealth or power, it was in the connections it had revealed, the trust it had inspired, and the lives it had saved. Lila's mother would live, and the girl who had risked everything to return a simple necklace had changed the course of his life as well. And though some shadows still lingered, Damian knew that together, they could face whatever came next. The threats had been neutralized, the secrets revealed, and justice, in its quiet, personal form, had been served. The morning sun filtered through the curtains of the safe house, painting the room in soft gold. Damian Cole sat in the armchair, the heirloom necklace resting on the table before him. For the first time in weeks, he felt a calm that wasn't laced with dread or tension. The battles had been fought, the threats neutralized, and the chaos that had consumed his life began to settle. Lila ran into the room, her face bright and unburdened for the first time. "Sir, Mom's feeling better. The doctors say she's improving every day." Damian smiled, a warmth spreading through his chest that he hadn't felt in years. "That's wonderful news, Lila. You did it. You were brave and you never gave up." She hugged him tightly, her small arms unable to contain the emotions that had been building for so long. "I was scared," she admitted, "but you made me feel safe." Damian placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "And I'll always keep you safe. That's a promise." Proper care and that her life would continue without danger. Damian turned his attention to the heirloom. It was more than a necklace now, it was a symbol of trust, courage, and connection. The intricate engravings revealed a family history Damian had long kept buried, secrets of alliances, betrayals, and promises he had thought lost to time. He arranged for Marissa to face justice, using the evidence he had gathered to ensure she could no longer threaten anyone. The corrupted aide who had helped her was also held accountable. The shadowy figures who had pursued Lila and the necklace had been exposed and removed from power. With all immediate threats neutralized, Damian finally allowed himself to breathe. The mansion felt different now, not just a place of power and isolation, but a home where life, trust, and humanity had room to thrive. Lila's mother recovered steadily, her laughter returning to fill the apartment that had once been heavy with fear. She often thanked Damian, her eyes glistening with gratitude. But Damian never sought recognition. His satisfaction came from knowing they were safe, that justice had been served, and that a little girl's courage had changed the course of so many lives. One afternoon, Damian took Lila to a quiet garden within the mansion grounds. She held the necklace in her hands, studying it with fascination. "Sir, will it always be safe now?" she asked. "Yes," Damian said, kneeling beside her. "And more than that, it's a reminder of what matters. Bravery, honesty, and the people we care about. Those are the true treasures in life." Lila smiled, a genuine, carefree smile that seemed to erase the fear and hardship she had endured. "I'm glad I found it, and glad I met you." Damian's lips curved in a rare, unguarded smile. "I'm glad too, Lila. You taught me more than I could have imagined." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the city, Damian reflected on the journey. The necklace had brought danger, betrayal, and uncertainty, but it had also brought connection, trust, and hope. Every decision, every risk, and every confrontation had led to this moment. A little girl safe, her mother alive, and a billionaire who had rediscovered the true meaning of courage and compassion. For Damian, the empire, the wealth, and the power that had once consumed him now felt secondary. The real victory was in the lives he had protected, the bonds he had forged, and the lessons he had learned from the innocence and bravery of a small girl who had dared to act with honesty and trust. The city lights flickered on as night fell, but inside the mansion a quiet peace reigned. Damian placed the heirloom necklace in a secure place, its secrets intact, its story complete. A story of courage, trust, redemption, and the extraordinary power of one small, determined girl. As Lila and her mother played in the garden, laughter echoing into the evening, Damian knew that every threat had been faced, every betrayal confronted, and every life touched had been preserved. The journey had ended, and in its wake hope, safety, and trust remained. The shadows of the past had been faced and resolved, and the future, once uncertain and dangerous, now glimmered with promise. The story of the heirloom, the little girl, and the billionaire was complete, a testament to courage, human connection, and the strength of doing what was right no matter the cost. Kindly like, subscribe, and comment where you are watching from. I would like to know.